my heart. And I'm so grateful that I was 19 at the time. And so the boys let me sit down and have a seat at the table. So that meant the world to me. But I had produced in the past, but had read the script and fell in love with the story and with Avery. And so when I went on to attach myself as just her, it was one of those things where, you know, every part of my brain was not shutting off when it came to behind the scenes stuff, and just had so much in my heart that I cared so much and wanted to be as hands-on as possible. So it was the greatest joy. It was, you know, calls once we would finish dance choreography, and, you know, 16-hour rehearsal days, and then getting on calls with, you know, the team and talking to them, and just was so humbled to be guided by such wonderful humans. And I think for me, I've yet to be able up until now to be truly a part of like the post-production process. And when we found our home with Netflix, thankfully they embraced me as well with open arms. And so it's been everything from, you know, trailer cuts to getting to be on those Zoom calls where we're pulling the images or working on the poster graphics or what the kind of marketing details will be like. And so there's so much that people don't get to see when you're part of that. And so it feels like a really sacred and special thing that I get to have for myself to have been a part of it, and not ask for anything in return. You know, it's just kind of get to sit behind the screen for a second and pour your heart into the project as an entirety. So very, very grateful and had the time of my life.
A big part for me. I think, you know, I had struggled with the idea of faith for a long time leading up to this movie. And really the movie was a coincidence, but in retrospect, not really, but a catalyst and a turning point for me to be reintroduced to my faith. And it's something I've been talking to a lot of outlets about, which is a week away for me was as much part of my faith journey as it could be for someone else. But I think at the end of the day, I think the faith aspect is imperative to the film. And I hope that young kids get an opportunity to explore their own faith as well.
Me too. I grew up in a very faith-filled household, which I was always really grateful to have. So anytime I get to be a part of a project that gets to share that light or that message, and especially just be a project for the family as a whole, is always really exciting to me. I would say personally, it was of importance to kind of dive into the personal conversations about the need for perfection or about the need to be a certain way. And I feel like growing up as a young girl, especially trying to navigate this business and being one that's vocal about her faith, there isn't a moment in which you don't feel like all eyes are on you for a second. It's like you can't mess up and you have to be this. And it's that moment of, I'm sorry, but I grew up believing and in having mistakes and in trying your best and in being human and being yourself. And that is what makes you you. And so I think getting to have a film that sheds light on the brokenness being what makes you beautiful, and the uniqueness and what's making it you, and that the need to not be perfect is what in fact makes you, you know, the best form of yourself. I feel like it's very rare that the light of faith films shine on those qualities as well. So I felt really excited to get to tackle that.
Thanks so much for having us here today and taking the time to chat with us. My daughter and I watched the film, and she is a longtime goer of youth camp. So she was like, this is my exact experience. So I'd love to know, there were so many great song and dance numbers. What was the rehearsal process like, learning a routine and the song?
It was definitely a workout, to say the least. We had, I think, 3 weeks of rehearsal, and then that kind of seeped a little bit into kind of some of the filming. And we just, sorry, let's hear that. Our choreographer, Milena, was incredible with all of us. She really just, I mean, is incredible talent.
Yeah, it was yeah, like Kat said, there was 2 weeks of rehearsal up front, and like a week of overlap with like 5 more weeks of filming. And we did everything on location at the camp. We like recorded the soundtrack there those first 2 weeks, and Melina's boot camp was made us all dancers. I think that 8 hours of dance every day for like upwards of 3 weeks. I've never been in such good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a dancer per se. I grew up in musical theater, but but Milena made me a dancer. Well,
She did.
I'll
She
say
did.
that much. Yeah. It's hard because like all the songs are so good and there's so much fun. My favorite song to perform, I think maybe Dive, just because it turned out so cool, and like just like being like on the beach and in the water. I love that song. And I think it just visually looks amazing. And you know, how many times did you get to be in a movie musical and you're dancing around in the water with all your new camp friends? So like just super cool experience.
Yeah, Dive was definitely my favorite to film. But you know, I'm biased. I gotta say, Baby Baby was my favorite.
Okay,
song
yeah, that's
in the
that's a good
movie.
one.
I in the script, it was just the whole sequence was kind of described as like kind of like an 80s aesthetic, like with like there's like fog rolling out and like neon in the background, and I like immediately thought of Prince, and that's just kind of and a testament to how supportive everyone was on set. Roman heard the idea and was like, I love it, and then we ran with it. That was just that kind of influenced the like look of the you know, my look, the look of the scene, and also like the sound. And I think that was barely acting. I'm constantly trying to emulate Prince.